Welcome back for another deep dive. And folks, this one is a real head scratcher. We're going to be diving into the world of Cicada 3301.
Cicada 3301. It's been a while since I've heard that name.
Yeah, well, it's one of those internet mysteries that just never seems to go away.
For sure.
So for our listeners who might not be familiar, Cicada 3301 is this series of incredibly complex puzzles that first appeared online back in 2012.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating about them is that they really blurred the lines between the digital world and the real world.
Right, it wasn't just about cracking codes on your computer. Participants had to follow clues that led them to physical locations all over the globe.
Exactly.
And it all started in a pretty unassuming way, right? Like just a
Yeah.
simple image posted on 4chan's random board.
Yep, just a simple image with a message calling out for quote unquote highly intelligent individuals.
Ah, yes, the classic call to adventure. So what was it about this image that made it the first clue?
Well, the image itself was the first layer of the puzzle. It was encoded with QR codes and hidden messages using steganography.
Steganography.
Yeah.
That's the art of concealing messages in plain sight, right?
Yeah.
Like hiding a message within an image.
Exactly. It was like someone had taken a digital escape room and exploded it onto a global scale.
Yeah, the great analogy. So right from the start, Cicada 3301 was setting the tone for a truly challenging and multi-layered mystery. And from what I understand, the puzzles just got more and more complex as you went deeper.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just about, your typical code breaking stuff. These puzzles required knowledge from all sorts of different fields. Like you needed linguistics, cryptography, even an understanding of obscure literature and historical figures.
Wow, so you really needed to be a jack of all trades, intellectually speaking, to have a chance at solving these puzzles.
Yeah, pretty much. Imagine deciphering a message hidden within a William Blake poem or using ancient Mayan mythology to figure out the next step.
It's incredible to think about the range of expertise that Cicada 3301 seemed to be testing. So these clues eventually led participants out into the real world, right? To specific physical locations. What were some of the more noteworthy places that these clues popped up?
Well, we're talking street corners in Tokyo, phone booths in Warsaw, even specific spots in Australia and the United States. It was as if the puzzle itself was like a phantom, like it was traveling the globe, leaving these breadcrumbs for its solvers to follow.
I can only imagine what it must have been like to be a participant, like heart pounding as you approached that designated phone booth in Warsaw, half expecting a shadowy figure to emerge with the next clue. But that's where things get even more mysterious, right? Because despite three major puzzle releases in 2012, 2013, and 2014, the ultimate outcome of Cicada 3301 remains a secret.
Yeah, it really does. And that's silence, that's actually the most perplexing part of this whole thing. Some people claim to have reached the final stages of the puzzle, but no one has ever publicly revealed a definitive solution.
It makes you wonder, was there even a final answer? Or was the journey itself the real purpose?
Maybe that was the point all along. But of course, the big question is who created this elaborate scheme? Was it a lone mastermind or a group effort?
And that's where all the theories come in. Was it an intelligence agency like the NSA or MI6 using this to scout for recruits?
Oh, yeah, that's a popular theory, right? Imagine having to solve these incredibly complex puzzles just to get an interview. That would be some intense screening process.
Talk about a trial by fire. But couldn't it also have been just a really well-designed alternate reality game, or ARG as they're called?
Oh, for sure. ARGs are all about blurring the lines between the game and reality. They often use real-world elements to enhance the experience. And if Cicada 3301 was an ARG, it would have to be one of the most ambitious and well-executed ones ever created.
Absolutely. I mean, the global scale, the intricate puzzles, the mystery at its core has all the makings of an unforgettable ARG. But there's also the possibility that it was a collective of tech-savvy individuals, like hackers, cryptographers, programmers, all coming together just to see how far they could push the boundaries of puzzle making.
Yeah, that's a compelling theory too. It speaks to that human desire to just tackle intellectual challenges for the sheer joy of it. Maybe for them, it wasn't even about a specific outcome. It was about the thrill of problem solving and exploration.
It's almost like a form of digital performance art. Maybe the creators wanted to craft something beautiful, complex, and ultimately unsolvable, engaging a global audience in this unique intellectual dance.
Yeah, it's definitely got that artistic vibe to it. But of course, we can't forget about the more, let's say, conspiratorial theories out there. Some people believe that Cicada 3301 was a modern day Illuminati, a shadowy organization with, motives that are not totally clear, potentially using the puzzle for recruitment or surveillance.
That's where things start to get really interesting. It's like something straight out of a Dan Brown novel. Secret societies, hidden agendas, world domination plots, you name it. And it all ties back to the name and symbolism involved.
Right, like the cicada itself, they spend years underground before emerging for a short, spectacular period. It's almost like a metaphor for the puzzle's hidden nature and its periodic appearances.
And then there's the number 303001. Its significance is still a mystery. Is it a code, a date, a secret frequency known only to a select few? The lack of answers only adds to the mystique.
It feels like the creators deliberately chose these elements to spark our curiosity and keep us guessing. They wanted us to question, to search, to try and connect the dots, which in a way makes all of us participants in this grand puzzle, even if we never tried to solve a single cipher.
Because we're all trying to understand, to find meaning, to figure out the motive behind it all.
Right.
And that brings us to perhaps the simplest explanation. Could Cicada 3301 have just been a really elaborate hoax?
Oh, it's definitely possible. Maybe the creators just wanted to see how far they could take a prank, to mystify the internet with clues that seem meaningful, but ultimately lead to a dead end.
If that's the case, you got to admire their dedication.
Yeah.
The complexity of the puzzles, the global reach, the attention to detail, it would have taken a lot of effort to pull off something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even if it was a hoax, it shows the power of creativity and our fascination with the unknown.
So we've got intelligence agencies, secret societies, tech enthusiasts, performance art, and even the possibility of a grand hoax. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure in the world of conspiracy theories.
Exactly. And with all these theories swirling around, it's important to remember that we don't have any concrete answers.
Yeah.
That's what makes Cicada 3301 so captivating. It's a puzzle that exists not only in the digital world, but also in our imaginations.
A story we keep telling and retelling, each time adding our own interpretations and theories.
And that's the beauty of it. We're all part of the mystery. And it seems like that lack of a definitive answer, is part of what makes Cicada 3301 so compelling.
It really is. It's like reading a mystery novel, and just as you're getting to the climax, someone rips out the last page. You're left with all these clues and theories, but no satisfying resolution. But I'm curious, what does this all mean for those of us who aren't, cryptography experts or globetrotting puzzle solvers?
Yeah.
Why should we care about this cryptic puzzle from over a decade ago?
Well, I think Cicada 3301 gives us a really fascinating look at how puzzles and challenges, are evolving in the digital age.
Mhm.
It's a great example of the power of collective intelligence. You have all these people from all over the world with different skills and backgrounds coming together online to try to crack this elaborate code.
It's like a giant online escape room, but with a lot more mystery and, well, significantly higher stakes.
Exactly. And it really taps into that basic human desire to solve problems, to uncover secrets, to explore the unknown. Even if we weren't directly involved in solving the Cicada 3301 puzzles, we can still appreciate the ingenuity, the creativity, just the sheer audacity of the whole thing.
There's something kind of inspiring about it. In a world that's often dominated by algorithms and big data, Cicada 3301 proves that there's still room for mystery and intrigue. The true purpose and the identities of those behind it may remain elusive, but the story itself, the legend of Cicada 3301, it continues to capture our imaginations and fuel these discussions about intelligence, the limits of technology, the allure of the unknown.
Absolutely. And it also raises some really interesting questions about the nature of online communities and the potential for collaboration in the digital age. Think about it. Thousands of people, all geographically dispersed, working together to solve a puzzle created by, well, an anonymous entity.
It really speaks volumes about the internet's power to connect people and to facilitate collaboration, even when the objective is as cryptic and elusive as, well, cracking the Cicada 3301 code. And while the original puzzles may have gone quiet, the story of Cicada 3301, it continues to evolve. New theories emerge, old clues are re-examined, and the debate over its true purpose, well, it just rages on in online forums and discussion groups.
And who knows, maybe someday someone will come forward with a definitive solution, or the creators themselves, they'll step out of the shadows and reveal their motives.
Or maybe, just maybe, the mystery itself was the point all along.
Now that's a really intriguing thought. What if the real legacy of Cicada 3301 isn't about finding a final answer? What if it's about the journey of exploration, problem solving, and collaboration that it inspired?
It's like a digital Rorschach test, right? Each person sees something different in those ink blots. or in this case, in the cryptic clues and hidden messages.
That's the beauty of a well-crafted mystery, I guess. It lets us come up with our own interpretations, to speculate, to theorize, and ultimately to create our own narratives around it.
So while the full story behind Cicada 3301 may always remain a mystery, the puzzle itself, it still challenges us to think differently, to question our assumptions, to embrace the unknown. And in a world that often feels, I don't know, predictable and over-explained, I think that's a pretty powerful concept.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It reminds us that there are still mysteries out there, mysteries waiting to be unraveled, explored, and deciphered.
Well said. And with that, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the perplexing world of Cicada 3301. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. What if the mystery isn't meant to be solved? What if the real challenge lies in embracing the ambiguity, appreciating the journey and continuing to search for answers, even when they seem, well, just out of reach?
Yeah, it's a good reminder that, the pursuit of knowledge and understanding is a process. It's ongoing. And sometimes the most captivating puzzles, well, they're the ones that we never fully solve.
I like that. Maybe Cicada 3301, with its lack of a clear ending, was never meant to be a puzzle with just one single solution. Maybe it was meant to demonstrate something bigger,
Hmm.
something more profound.
Makes you wonder, right? What if the real goal was to spark a global conversation, to get people thinking differently about information, about the power of collaboration in the digital age?
It definitely achieved that, wouldn't you say? I mean, even today, years later, Cicada 3301, it still generates so much discussion and inspires new investigations.
Imagine the impact something like this could have on education. What if we could harness that same mystery, that same intrigue, to really get students engaged, to foster a love of learning?
It's an interesting thought. Instead of just passively learning from textbooks, students could be actively involved in solving real-world problems, unraveling complex mysteries, working with their peers from around the world.
It could totally change how we approach education, turn classrooms into these hubs for exploration and discovery where the joy of learning comes from the thrill of the unknown.
That's a really cool idea. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of Cicada 3301. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought.
Go for it.
What if the real challenge that Cicada 3301 presents isn't about solving the puzzles themselves? What if it's about taking that same spirit of curiosity, that ingenuity, that collaborative problem solving, and applying it to the challenges we face in our own lives?
That's a great message to end on. Cicada 3301 might be this puzzle shrouded in mystery, but it also reminds us of what we're capable of. That human ingenuity, our ability to work together when we're facing the unknown.
So to everyone listening, keep those minds sharp, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries around you. Who knows what you might find?
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.